Hello everybody, it's Toadstool Tarot time. I'm still learning how to do these videos, and if you hear a little roar in the background, it's because it's really hot today, and I've had the air conditioner and the fans going, but for the moment my apartment's cool enough to turn off the air conditioner and one of the three fans, so you might still the other two whirring in the background. As to the lighting, I'm still trying to figure out how best to light these videos. I know if you're looking at me, the light seems pretty harsh, but I'm not really the focus of these anyway. It's the cards that I present. So as long as you can see the information in the cards, that's what's more important, until I get it all worked out. Anyway, today what I want to talk about is the deck that I have recently adopted and carry around everywhere with me in my shoulder bag that carries all my essentials I want to have with me wherever I go, out to the park, to the cafe, whatever. And it used to be a tarot deck. I sometimes carry two. I often carry the Rider-Waite-Smith. Well, I guess it's the Smith Centennial in a tin version of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. That's the one I like the best, but I'll get into that in another video. But lately I've adopted a love for a Lenormand deck, and I don't read Lenormand, but this one's called the Mystical Lenormand, and it's by, get my glasses, the print's pretty small. Regula Elizabeth Fichter, and the paintings are by Urban Troche. It's a deck about the size of playing cards, which I really like. The Tarot in a Tin series are like playing card size. I love them. They're very manageable, easy to handle. Some people prefer the full-size tarot decks. I'm okay with these. They refer to them as mini decks. I don't. I think they're sort of intermediate. The mini decks are those little teeny tiny ones that are like 1 by 2 inches or whatever. But these are what everybody's used to if you ever played a game of cards, so they're very easy to handle. This one has 36 cards in it. I guess that's typical of the Lenormand system, which I don't use. But what I do is I treat these as, I guess you'd say, an oracle deck. And I just draw one card and meditate on that, because I use them as sort of introspective self-help. If I have a problem or a question or an issue, I'll ask it, and then I'll draw a card and see what I see. The same way that I relate to paintings in a gallery or a museum. I'm a visual artist, and I look at images and interpret them in, according to my own reading of symbols and colors and directions and all the elements that you might find in a card. So I particularly like cards that don't have any labeling. They just have images, and you can figure out the story on your own. Like I said, I've been carrying these around in a tin in my shoulder bag instead of the box, which I showed you. And so It comes with a little book, but I don't really refer to the book because that's the Lenormand system, not my system. These are the backs of the cards, which I like. It's a circle of angels looking out onto the cosmos. And the images, all of them are within window frames of various styles, which I like because I think this and a lot of tarot, they're like windows into our inner interpretations of things, windows into other worlds, windows into symbols and images, how we read things other than textually. Using the right brain maybe rather than the left brain, not so analytical, more art related. And so we look at images, we tell ourselves stories, we see what they say to us, and I'm going to show these to you. I'm going to do a little flip through of the deck. I've shuffled them, I've not put them back in the right order because the way I use them, the order doesn't matter. You know, if I want to look something up in the book, I can. The only labeling on the card is a little number, if you want to reference it in the book. And there's also an astrological symbol. I don't read astrology, so I don't really know what that's about. But if I want to check it out, I can Google the symbol online, see what it has to say about that symbology. So I'm going to go through these cards with you and see what you think. I love this woman and how she's sort of giving attention to that little pig, sort of indulging the pig in a very nurturing way. Here's a book on a stand, given some reverence, set up between these two candles, signaling enlightenment, I suppose. And there seems to be a ram on the top of the book, which may have something to do with sort of an element of stubbornness. Not sure. I really like these paintings, these images, most of them. This is a nice one, although it doesn't quite fit in with some of the images in the deck that I like. But again, I love the fact that these don't have labels or text on them. They let you find your own text. Tell your own story, what's going on there. I suppose I could lay these out in spreads, and I might, but I just kind of like to contemplate a single card at a time. Maybe a card for the day, to think about what I might have to deal with, what my approach might be to those dealings, or to keep an eye out for things that might be coming my way. I always look at tarot anyway as sort of a guidance system, at the same time a caution system, cautionary tales. I don't do reversals, so I always look at them as things to guide me in a positive way towards, and things to be careful against going in a direction that might not be advantageous. I love this little house. And again, I love that all of these have these beautiful window frames. So, a bit like we watch a show on television through that frame, or sit by our window and look out and see what's going on out in the world. We can view these little private stories. I think I read in the book that these paintings, they were painted on wood with egg tempera, which is an old method, an old established art method that gives quite wonderful results. This one's unusual because if you can see, there's a mirror in the background which is showing what would be behind the reader. The camera's not quite picking up the vividness of the colors, but I think you probably can appreciate the artwork. And if you know the Lenormand system, maybe this is a deck that will work for you. And if you don't, throw caution to the wind and work on it. This card, for instance, has come up for me several times in the last week because I've been suffering heat stroke and not hydrating enough. And I've actually been reading this card as drink more water, which I've been trying to do. And it's come up about 3 times, so it's working. This one I don't know quite what to make of. It's a stork on a chimney top with its babies in the nest. Then there's a little black baby in a cup on the windowsill, which I suppose could be celebratory of birth. Cups, emotions, love in the tarot system. I'm not quite sure why there's a baby in a cup, but if I think on it more, it might come to me, might come to one of you. I like this one. Seems to be about direction. Reminds me of the Chariot. Which way do we go? Over the bridge, under the bridge, by land or by sea, left or right. And she's reading a book. Don't look at your cell phone, watch where you're going. And that's the last one. A bear trying to get honey from a beehive. He may get stung for his efforts, and he may get bit on the foot by that little nasty bug at the bottom. Make sure that what you're pursuing is worth the risk, and be willing to take the risk to reap the reward. So that's the mystical Lenormand. I love them. I hope you do too. And I guess that's about all I'm going to bumble through today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.